Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the John Campea Show here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an honor and a privilege to have you guys joining me here today, as it is every day, especially on the weekend here. It's Sunday, getting ready to head into the week. The official numbers for Black Panther should be coming out here. There's already some speculation posts out there, but we're waiting for the official numbers to drop. Should be coming pretty soon. I'm sure we're going to talk about that a little bit later today. But we got a number of things to talk about here today, and let's not waste any time. Let's just dive right into it. And the first topic today gets emailed to us from the Canon, and the Canon writes, do you think that the success of Black Panther can not only be a win for the genre, but a win specifically for Aquaman? Exploring another king torn between trying to serve two worlds, or could it possibly be hurt because it's too similar? All right, thanks a lot for the question, Canon. Of course, Black Panther out in theaters right now, tearing it up. Again, we're waiting to find out the official numbers for the opening weekend, but regardless, they're going to be impressive. They're going to be very, very impressive numbers when they do come out one way or the other. So, one of my kind of operating theories in movies is that if a genre can succeed, it's good for the whole genre. If one movie in a genre can succeed, that's nothing but a good thing for the rest of the genre. If people go see Black Panther and they love it and they have a great time, as most people are, then that bodes well for the next movie of its genre, the comic book genre, when it comes out, which just happens to be another MCU movie, Avengers Infinity War, coming out in about 10 weeks. So that only bodes well. So could Black Panther, getting so much positive attention for the genre, for the comic book genre, could this ultimately also help Aquaman, which is still some ways away? I mean, it's still almost a full year away in many respects. Could it still have that, considering the similarities? Both are kings trying to serve two worlds, all that kind of stuff. Well, here's the thing, the first thing I would want to say to that is there really aren't that many similarities between Black Panther's T'Challa and Arthur Aquaman. There's really not that many similarities. Like you mentioned, both are kings. Okay, yes, they're both kings. But pretty much they're in the similarity stop. They're both kings trying to serve two worlds. Well, I would argue that T'Challa isn't trying to serve two worlds. He's trying to serve Wakanda. And even though, one of the big questions, and we see this in the trailers as well, and we saw it brought up in Captain America Civil War with his father T'Chaka, one of the struggles is, what is Wakanda's place in the world? But even then, when T'Challa is struggling with those questions, it's really about what's best for Wakanda. What is the best way for Wakanda to handle this? So even when he's thinking about the outside world, he's really ultimately still thinking about what is best for Wakanda. So that's really it. In the comic books with Aquaman, yeah, he struggles between his responsibilities to the world, his responsibilities to Atlantis. We haven't really seen him struggle in the movie with what his responsibilities to Atlantis are at all. And to him, he's like, screw Atlantis, whatever. I don't care about Atlantis, but I'm sure that's going to become a part of it. And while I do believe that, if one film does something great for the genre, it's good for all films in the genre, I don't know how much of a positive impact that will have on Aquaman simply because of how far away Aquaman is. So I don't think there's going to be much help for it there. But hey, if Infinity War comes out and crushes it, and then if Ant-Man comes out and crushes it, and then one or two of the X-Men films come out and crush it, then that all bodes very well for Aquaman. But I don't think Aquaman is either going to be helped or hurt with any perceived similarities between it and Black Panther, because other than the fact that both characters happen to be, the heir apparents and kings of their respective places of origin, the similarities pretty much stop there. So I don't really think it's going to help or hurt either way. I don't think anybody's going to go, why would a guy see Aquaman? It's just the same as Black Panther. I don't think anybody's going to be doing that. So I think it's safe on that front. All right, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question comes to us from Diego Martinez, who writes, Diego, hey, John, I love the show and watch almost every day. Why almost? Anyway, I watch almost every day. Just wondering if you've seen the post from Stallone with the first poster for Creed 2 with Drago and his son on it. I like it, but it does look a bit cheap for a poster. It comes from Stallone, so we know it is quote-unquote real, but do you think it's quote-unquote official? Know what I mean? Thanks, and keep up the great work. Yeah, for those of you who have not seen, Sylvester Stallone got on his social media and posted this picture. I gotta tell you, I like it. I like it. They haven't even started shooting this damn movie yet. They're supposed to be shooting it soon, which they better be, because as of right now, the release date for Creed 2 is still listed as being November of this year. So the movie's coming out in like 10 months. They haven't started shooting it yet. Now, this is not going to be a visual effects heavy film. It'll probably be about a 2.5 month shoot. So it's not all that long. And then there's not a ton of post-production that needs to be made on it. So it's not rushing. It's not like, oh my God, they need to start shooting today. But it is soon, right? So this is not from the movie, since they haven't even started shooting the movie yet. But it is our first kind of look at a concept, and him actually putting like Dolph Lundgren in the poster. Now, I don't know if Stallone and Lundgren actually got together and put on the hoodies and got some photos done, or Sylvester Stallone just pulled an old picture of him in a hoodie and then pulled an old picture of Dolph Lundgren in a hoodie, then got a picture of Florian, who's playing Drago's son, and Michael playing, Apollo Creed's son, and put them together. But I dig it. As a concept poster, I dig it. I love the way you phrased your question, though, Drago, about, hey, we know it's real, because it comes from Stallone, so it's real, but is it official? I don't know that it's official. I don't know if this is going to be the logo. I don't know if this is actually going to end up on the real poster itself, but conceptually, I do like it a lot. Now, first of all, I've been doing some more reading on, because he's not really an actor. He's been in like one little thing. But the dude who's playing Drago's son, his name is Florian Mutenu or something like that. I always mispronounce his last name, but he's a boxer. His nickname in boxing is Big Nasty, and you can kind of see why. This is a scary looking human being. I mean, flat out, this is a scary looking human being. Now, I've heard a lot of people mention some concerns about, well, hey, like, he's only ever acted in one little thing. Should we be concerned that this guy can't really act? I'm normally very concerned about that stuff, but here's why I'm not so concerned about it for Creed 2. And I've mentioned this before, but the reason that I'm not really worried about whether or not this guy can seriously act or not is for a couple reasons. One main reason. If they treat his character the way they treated Drago's character in Rocky IV, Drago had almost no lines. Like, the character of Ivan Drago had almost no lines at all, other than, I must break you, which was a great line. I mean, that was great. A couple things in Russian, but he didn't really need to be able to act. He needed to be standing there, look super intimidating, and be able to pull off the physicality in the ring. Now, since Florian is a professional boxer, he is going to be able to pull off the in-ring stuff, no doubt. He's going to be able to make that look better than any actor will. So, as long as they don't give this dude a whole ton of dialogue, then then it's okay. It's different than say, hey, we got a movie about a boxer. Well, let's just get a boxer who's never acted and give him the lead role. That's different. You could arguably say here, Florian is probably going to be the 5th biggest character in the film. Because obviously Stallone's going to be a bigger character. Obviously Michael B. Jordan's going to be a bigger character. I have a feeling Ivan Drago himself, Dolph Lundgren, is going to be a bigger character. I think Tessa Thompson's character is going to be a bigger character in it. And then ultimately, maybe the 5th or 6th biggest character is going to be his son. And as far as terms of lines go, it's probably going to be the 12th, 13th, 14th, or 15th biggest character. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. Anyway, getting back to the poster, I do think it's real. I doubt it's going to be the official poster that a studio puts out, but I do like the look of it. It gives us our first taste of things, so it gets my juices flowing, man. That's all. I'm getting excited about seeing this movie. I love the first one so much. Can't wait to see the next one. I'm excited. All right, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Abdullah S., who writes, "Hey, John." Hello, Abdullah. "What do you think of the news that is cycling on social media that George Lucas will return to direct an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie? With Ewan McGregor. Since Lucas made it clear before that he was done with Star Wars, if the news turned out to be true, do you think it is a good idea? All right, well, thanks a lot for the question, man. And Abdullah, this isn't your fault because you're just reading stuff on social media. But this is a great example of broken telephone throughout the internet, of half-hearted reports and speculation turning into broken telephone, where one thing turns into another thing, then it turns into another thing, and then by the time that you read it, Abdullah, it gets to George Lucas may be directing the next Obi-Wan movie. And these stories are going around. I mean, pardon me, we see these things going around. Like, real websites, at least, you take something like Sci-Fi, at least they're clarifying, like, this is a rumor, okay? George Lucas helping out scouting locations for Obi-Wan movie. So, here's where this all comes from, okay? Where it all comes from is that George Lucas was on vacation in Ireland. While there, he toured a popular, famous soundstage in Europe. Later came some reports that some Star Wars stuff might shoot in that same studio, which then led some journalists going, I wonder if that's why George Lucas was in Ireland, which started this rumor that George Lucas is scouting locations for Star Wars. What? But anyway, that turned into that. And then George Lucas starting scouting locations for Star Wars turned into George Lucas involved with Star Wars, which turned into some people going, is George Lucas directing the Obi-Wan movie? It's like, none of that came from anything. Like, here's the official account, okay? So, this is where it came from. It goes, according to the Belfast Telegraph, Lucas was in Northern Ireland last November to take a tour of Belfast Paint Hall Studios. Now, it should be clarified here. While in Ireland, what we know is that while in Ireland, he did go and take a tour of that studio. Apparently, George Lucas is a big fan of Game of Thrones. That's Game of Thrones' kind of base of operations. So we know that George was in Ireland. And while visiting Ireland, he went to tour that studio. So what is even written here is not exactly accurate. He didn't go to Ireland to take a tour of the studio. But anyway, let's start it from the top. According to the Belfast Telegraph, Lucas was in Northern Ireland last November to take a tour of Belfast Paint Hall Studios, best known to genre fans right now as the home base of HBO's series Game of Thrones. The Telegraph report claims that staff at the studio had been told that once Thrones finishes shooting its final season and strikes its set, HBO will move out and Lucasfilm will move in. Lucas was reportedly in Belfast to take a tour of Paint Hall and give his quote-unquote seal of approval to the studio as the site of the next Star Wars spin-off production. According to an insider, he was hugely impressed. Okay, so first of all, no one has said he went there for that specific reason. No official sources ever said he was there specifically to scout it for Star Wars. No one official came on record and said he was really impressed. All we know is that he was in Ireland. He had been there for a little bit. Then he went to tour the studio. He's a big fan of Game of Thrones. Toured the studio. And now somebody said that somebody else said that somebody else said that Star Wars is going to move into the studio once Game of Thrones is done. That's not even official. And then some other people took all that and said, oh, I'm going to deduce that since George Lucas was there, and since we're hearing rumors that maybe Star Wars will shoot some stuff there, they must be connected. George Lucas is scouting locations for Lucasfilm. Broken telephone, which then ultimately then led up to George Lucas is directing the Obi-Wan movie. And I've seen those rumors going around, but it is a classic case of broken telephone. Look, is it possible that Kathleen Kennedy and George Lucas just were on the phone and George says, hey, Kathy, I'm just in Ireland right now, visiting Ireland, having a good time. And then, Kathleen Kennedy might have said to him, hey, you know what, while you're down there, I know you're big Game of Thrones fans, George, we're looking at maybe shooting some stuff in the studio there. You should go see it. You should go check it out. Hey, that's a great idea, Kathy. And then he goes to, my George Lucas impersonation is terrible, by the way. So I mean, it's possible. And then she says, what do you think, George? Like, we're thinking about going there. Did you like the stage? Do you think we should consider it? Oh, yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. Like, maybe that happened. I mean, sure, possible. But the idea that the great George Lucas is suddenly some errand boy doing scouting locations, like some menial task stuff for Lucasfilm, I just don't buy it. And again, it is a thing. Like, from what we know, Stephen Daldry, the Academy Award nominated director, from the reports that we've seen, it looks like the studio is in talks with him to direct it. So just right off that, George Lucas is directing Obi-Wan. It would be fascinating if that was true, but it's not true. So again, it's just a great example of the great game of broken telephone that goes around. It happens sometimes. All right, guys, that will do it for all the pre-selected email questions we've had for today. We're going to head over now to the live chat questions. You can get a live chat question simply by using Super Chat. It guarantees you get your question on the show. And of course, it supports the channel as well. So thank you to all you guys who do that. I'm going to ask you though right now, guys, if you haven't sent in a Super Chat at this point, you got 30 more seconds and then cut it off. So you got 30 more seconds to send in a Super Chat if you'd like, but then we're cutting it off. All right. We're going to get into it now. And the first one comes to us from Ben Jesusa. I think I got it right again, Ben. Saw Black Panther last night and I love it. Took my mom and brother to go see it as well. She has seen every superhero so far with me. That's awesome. I love, because I get to do that with my mom with Star Wars. To me, it's great when people take their parents to go see that stuff. I love it. I think that's great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You saw my review. You saw our spoiler review. By the way, our spoiler review for Black Panther is up now. You can go check that out on the channel. It was a great discussion yesterday with you guys. So go check that out. And just a fabulous, fabulous time. All right. Next one up. Calvin Cervero Pajo writes, John, why Wakandans speak English among themselves? I hate when they introduce a local language but don't stick with it. Just make English the official language. Make it look like South Africa. Well, I mean, first of all, Calvin, like, you have to understand that you're making a movie, yes, but you also have to serve the needs of the audience. And it better serves the audience if the language they're speaking most of the time is in the language of the audience. That just works. That's just a practical thing. That's just a practical thing. We've seen lots of movies do that, go back and forth between languages. Like when something's happening in Russian, sometimes they'll be speaking Russian, and sometimes they'll just speak English in a Russian accent. But also remember this, Wakanda is a fictional place. It's a fictional place. What if that's just normal for Wakanda? That people, they have their own language and they speak English and they go back and forth. They speak, what they usually speak in Johannesburg, but then they also have their own language and they speak it as well. Maybe that's the normal thing in Wakanda. It is a fictional place. They also have hover bikes and vibranium. I mean, so what's to say that's not what is normal for Wakanda? So I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't sweat it too much, to be honest with you, Calvin. I would kind of let that one go. Let's see. Next one comes to us from Ben Jesus again. It says, another thing I want to say is the fact, don't you dislike people who always go to a movie for the action more than the story and character development? Well, Ben, look, you know me. I always say that I believe story is far more important than action and all that kind of stuff. But let's be careful not to put ourselves in the position that we're telling other people what they should like. That's not what being a film fan's about. Being a film fan isn't about telling other people what they're supposed to like. Movies are experiential. They're art. And the experience hits us all in different ways. And if action is a language that hits certain people a better way than other things, then so be it. There's nothing right or wrong with that. So I want to be careful. That we say, don't you just hate people who prefer action over the story? No, I mean, I don't agree with it. That's not how it works for me, and I know that's not how it works for a lot of other people. But if that's what gives them their best experience, then so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. And at the heart of toxic fandom, and I'm not saying you're a toxic fan, man, not at all, but I'm just saying we got to be careful, because at the heart of toxic fandom is this notion that you and only you are the keeper of what is right, and everybody else has got to get on board, or else there's something wrong with them. That's the heart of toxic fandom. So while I agree with you that story is the key most important thing, action is just a flavor. Action is just some seasoning to put into it to hopefully increase the enjoyment. But for some other people, that's the language that just works for them best. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. If that's what works best for them, then that's what works best for them. And we shouldn't tell them one way or the other that they should or shouldn't appreciate films on that level. That's just my way of thinking it. Let's see. And then Ben also writes again, also, I have been watching you since the early blog days through AMC, Collider, then here. I'm a Michael Jackson fan, so your vid on Michael Jackson years back was the first vid. Oh, that's fun. Thanks so much for sharing that, Ben. I appreciate that. And thanks for being along the ride with me. I really appreciate that. Prince Sarma writes, based on its unbelievable performance, do you think Jumanji is the most profitable film and a legit box office winner of 2017? No. No, 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 no. Not even a little bit. First of all, let's be on. Let's look at the box office mojo here for a second. Let's bring this up. First of all, if you want to look at overall box office, let me go to my yearly thing here. 2017. Okay, so first of all, Star Wars: The Last Jedi has made $1.32 billion. $1.32 billion, okay? Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, has made $900 million, which is great, which is fan-frickin-tastic. That's amazing. 900 million is just a spectacular number. Good on it. Now, Star Wars: The Last Jedi cost about $100 million more to make than Jumanji. The estimates I heard was that Star Wars: The Last Jedi came in around anywhere between the $185 to the $210 million budget range. So let's split around. The number I hear more often was 190, but whatever. Might be a little more, might be a little less. Let's go with the 190 mark. Jumanji cost $90 million to make. So there's a $100 million difference between in the margin of how expensive was Jumanji, how expensive was Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Star Wars: The Last Jedi made over $400 million more than Jumanji. So, yeah, while The Last Jedi cost a bit more, I mean, $100 million more. That's a lot. It also made over $400 million more than Jumanji did. So no, there's no form of math, old math, new math, as Mr. Incredible would say, math is math. There's no form of math that you can come up with that would even come close to suggesting that that Jumanji is the legit box office winner in terms of profitability. Nope. The Last Jedi just made so much more money than Jumanji did. That the $100 million difference between the two of them. But, I mean, that doesn't take away from what an incredible accomplishment that Jumanji is. Nobody, not the studio, not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, nobody expected Jumanji to make $900 million. Nobody expected that. That is a triumph for that movie. But no, it does not make it on any scale more profitable than The Last Jedi. Orange Hand writes, who is the more dangerous Bolton, Roos or Ramsey? Oh, Ramsey, by far. I mean, Roos is more calculating, but just Ramsey was a brutal mixture of intelligence and just pure, vile evil. I mean, so that just made him, and crazy too. He was just absolutely nuts. So I'll go Ramsey. Ben Rayner writes, I missed the live spoiler chat because I was seeing the movie. Well, that's a good reason to miss the spoiler chat. I just wanted to say I loved it. A really good and great MCU movie, 9 out of 10. Yeah, I loved it too. Not my favorite MCU movie. I mean, there are some people who say it's the best MCU movie ever. I don't agree with that. I may put it in my top 5. Not even sure about that, but it's great. It is great, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Okay, next one. Comes to us from Sharan, who writes, a Black Panther's opening estimate beat Age of Ultron. That is insane. I mean, we'll find out soon. We'll find out soon. Like within the next couple hours, we'll get the official numbers. Because there are some speculation numbers out there right now, but we are going to get the official numbers here pretty soon, and we'll find out. I mean, look, everything about Black Panther's opening weekend is nuts. Just nuts and crazy and insane. So, yeah, it's a pretty big thing. Okay, maybe one name writes, in a few discussions online, I've seen people suggest that it's racist to say something bad about Black Panther because of how important the film is to Black people. Isn't that ridiculous? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is ridiculous. And believe me, it's not the intelligent people saying that. And believe me, the vast majority of the Black movie-going audience does not believe that nonsense at all. That's ridiculous. If it's a bad movie, it's a bad movie. If there are negative, look, I'll tell you right, I'm a big defender of Black Panther. You saw my review, you saw my spoiler review. I think it's great. But there are some problems with some of the CGI here and there. I think overall the CGI was very good, but there are definitely some standout spots that the CGI did not work. I think there was some editing choices that were a little bit questionable. There are several things that keep this from being considered a perfect movie, by all means. But believe me, the most intelligent people will not suggest at all it's racist. You're talking about some fringe, idiotic extremists who would say something like that. But you know what? Every little group, every group, me, you, all of us, we all belong to groups that have fringe extremists. It is not racist in any way, shape, or form to suggest that you don't like Black Panther or there's something wrong with Black Panther. If you hated it, you hated it because it's a bad movie. There are some people out there who are already, I mean, trust me, I went through some of the chat stuff. There are some people who just call it a bad movie just because it's led by black people. There are idiot extremists like that. There's nothing you can do about it. But to suggest that if you just saw it and you legitimately don't like it because you thought this was wrong with it and this was wrong with it as a movie, there's nothing racist about that. Not at all. Sujith writes, 2018 is already a game-changer year for superhero movies like 2008 was. Lucky to be living in this era of pop culture, isn't it? Oh, absolutely. There's so many cool things that are happening right now in movies in the world of film that I think we're going to look back on and see as items of really great revolutionary advancements that get made. So yeah, it is a golden age to be living in, man, if you're a film fan of these types of genres. Sujith goes on to say, I watched Alien Covenant with a clear and open mind and got a nice Dr. Frankenstein type sci-fi vibe out of it. In that context, do preset expectations. Oh, do zero preset expectations equal better appreciation of the art? You know, I think there's a lot of theories and opinions about expectations. And I really think it's overplayed. I think there are rare cases that you get so hyped that something, you might walk out of something, feel a little disappointed. But honestly, I think it's really over-exaggerated. I think that whole play is over-exaggerated. Samuel Pole writes, what's wrong with Alamo Drafthouse? I live in Austin, so I go there all the time. I want to make sure I'm not funding crimes or anything like that. Hey, look, you can read up on Alamo Drafthouse. I'm not going to try to dissuade anybody from going to Alamo Drafthouse. Somebody asked me a direct question, what do I think of Alamo Drafthouse? I answer the question. I'm not here to campaign against it. I'm not here to tell other people you shouldn't go to it. I'm not doing any of that, all right? If you want to know more about Alamo Drafthouse, just go read about some of the stuff that's been going on. And then you make up your own mind. I am not going to sit here and try to tell anybody what they should or should not do. So you read that for yourself. I'm not going to use my show as a platform. I know you're not trying to get me to do this, but I'm not going to use my show as a platform to try to speak ill of one of the organizations. You go, somebody asked me a direct question. I answered it. You go check it out for yourself. Let's see. Where are we? Koa1708 writes, I used your butter popcorn trick with the straw and it worked pretty good. Now I can have butter for the entire tub. Thanks. For those of you who don't know what Koa's talking about, I explained it because to me, popcorn is just a butter delivery device. So what I do is, and what happens is you get this big tub of popcorn, you put popcorn on the top, and then just when you eat this much of the popcorn, there's no butter left. What I did was I found this trick where I do put butter on the top first, but then I take a straw and put it down close to the bottom, about this far from the bottom. And then I put the butter dispenser at the top of the straw. And then what I do is I start moving the straw around as I bring the straw up through the popcorn. So now my popcorn is evenly buttered throughout. It's totally unhealthy. Totally unhealthy. Should not do it. No way. But when you're somebody like me, that popcorn is nothing but a butter delivery device, then it is a great thing to do. And I'm glad you were able to try that, Koa. Haskell420 writes, hey, John, good morning. Good morning, Haskell. I just tweeted you deadline 8 a.m. update for Black Panther box office. How are the lyrics coming in? I was wrong about Black Panther box office. Well, first of all, I saw the deadline story earlier. I don't think I saw your tweet yet, but remember, these are estimates right now. The actual industry's number is going to come out later. But by the way, even those estimates on deadline was 195 million. That's the estimate. If that's true, then it means maybe I wasn't wrong about Black Panther not hitting 200. But to be fair, I didn't even think it would come anywhere near 200. And it's clearly getting very close. When the official numbers come out a little bit later this morning, we'll know if it got to that $200 million mark or not. But even the estimates right now are saying 195. I think the number I saw Disney estimating was 195.5. So we'll see. Maybe it'll come in a little higher and it will cross that $200 million mark. We'll have to wait and see. Steven writes, "Hey, John, love the show." Thank you so much, Steven. "What is your favorite Best Picture winner in the last decade or so? Mine is The Artist. Thanks and Bring on the Filthy." Oh, man, I'd have to sit there and bring up a list of the Best Picture winners in front of me. I honestly don't know. Here, I'll pull it up. Give me a second. Best Picture winners of the 2000s. So here we go. All right. So the last 10 years, so you're talking since 2008. So Slumdog Millionaires was great. The Hurt Locker was great. Let's see, 2010s. And I can't find a list outside of that. I don't have the list in front of me. Let me see. 2010. Okay, so 2010, King's Speech, The Artist, Argo was great, 12 Years a Slave was great, Birdman was amazing, Spotlight was so good, Moonlight. I'm going to go King's Speech. If you're going to ask me the last 10 years, I'm going to go King's Speech. It's probably my favorite out of that particular list. Junis Kari writes, "Over under 40% that Black Panther hits $1 billion. Hey, I tell you what, a month ago I would have taken the under on that. Actually, I probably would have even set the number at like 20%. So I would have taken the under. Today, understanding that the number is 40%, I'll take the over now on 40%. I'm not saying it's going to. If you set the over-under number at 80%, I might take the under. But at 40%, I'll take the over on that. Angel Chang writes, "Thank you for doing this at 9 a.m. and not 8. Well, yeah, on the weekends, like yesterday I did it at 10 a.m. On the weekends, I've told you guys before, on Saturday and Sunday, I just kind of do it whenever I get up. It's either going to be 9 a.m. or I'm not doing it at 8 on the weekends. I'm either doing it at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. And I can't tell you in advance because it all depends on how I feel when I wake up. I give myself that luxury because it's the weekend. Let's see. Koba writes, "Unpopular opinion. I hate popcorn in movie theaters. It's loud and messy. Movies need a different food." Well, Koba, there's nothing wrong with you having that opinion, but it is as part of the movie-going experience as the chairs, the screen, and the projector. So it ain't going anywhere. So I mean, it sucks. I'm sorry that it's a distraction for you. That's terrible, and I wish it was different for you, but it's not. Popcorn ain't going anywhere. And I can't go to a movie if I don't know I'm going to get my popcorn. It's a Pavlov's dog response to me now. It's like hearing the bell ring and my mouth salivates. I walk into the movie theater and instantly I start craving popcorn. I never crave popcorn unless I'm in the movie theater. It's kind of crazy that way. But nothing wrong with you feeling that way, Koba. Don't feel bad about that. Mr. J writes, "Adonis, cut me, Rock, cut me. I hope they do it. That would be funny. If his eyes getting all swollen up, he goes, cut me, uncle." What does he call him? Unk. Cut me, Unk. Cut me. And he does that. That would be a great callback to the original films. I got a name. I got a name. Okay, here we go. I got a name writes, "Something disturbing at our viewing of Black Panther. Anytime Killmonger," you know what? I am just because it could be considered spoilery. I'm sorry, man. I got to pass on your question. Just because somebody might I know you were trying your best not to make it sound spoilery, and I appreciate your efforts, but just somebody might consider that spoilery, so I'm going to take a pass on your question, but thank you for sending it. Tony Tube writes, Toonie Tube writes, "I heard J.J. Abrams said that the backlash on The Last Jedi will have no impact on the story of Episode 9. I hope it's true." Oh, I absolutely believe that's true. J.J. Abrams is a smart dude. He's going to make the movie he was going to make. He's not going to take whatever real or fake backlash. There was real and there was fake. There was both. But he's not going to take any of it. He's going to make the movie that he wants to make. And that's the way all filmmakers should do it, really. Haskell writes, "John, sounds like classic Johnny Dangerously, Grapevine jail scene. Starts out one way, completely ends differently." Yeah, it really is. And that really is like the way a lot of this works. Like a rumor starts, which then gets passed on but changes a little bit, then that slightly changed version of it gets passed on and it gets changed even more. And before you know it, George Lucas is directing Obi-Wan. Now watch, tomorrow they announce that George Lucas is directing Obi-Wan. Anyway, Angel Chang writes, Jumanji just made $900 million. Effing crazy. Yeah, it is crazy. We've already spoke about that, Angel, but yeah, it is nuts. Nobody saw that coming. Matthew Koss writes, will there be any female Knights of Ren? I don't see why not. We saw in the prequels that there were female Jedi, so why there wouldn't be, and we've seen in games a lot of female dark side users, so I don't see why they wouldn't do that. Mary writes, Box Office Mojo confirms BP opening as 192 million, second highest ever only to Avengers, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at any rate. Mad, it will make more in 4 days than Justice League's entire domestic run. That can't be true. Is that true? That can't be true. Hold on a second. Justice League box office. Let's see here. I cannot believe that would be true. Justice League's domestic box office was 228 million. It is conceivable. It's not automatic, but it is conceivable that Black Panther may make more in 4 days. In 4 days than Justice League did in 6 weeks domestically. Insane. Absolutely insane. But anyway, let's not harp on that too much. Eddie Mason writes, and I've only got 3 minutes left here, guys. Thanks for all your videos. I relate to your opinion, even when I disagree. I appreciate that, Eddie, and I appreciate that you're somebody who understands that. You know, I'm not here to try to say things that you agree with. That's not the point. My job is to communicate my honest opinion in such a way that if you agree with me, it better helps you understand and sharpen your understanding about why you agree with me. But if you disagree with me, hopefully I'm communicating my position in such a way that helps you understand a different point of view more and helps you further bring into focus why you disagree. So I'm not here to try to get people to disagree with me. And that's not my job. My job is simply to express my point of view and my opinion on things, hopefully in such a way that it helps you appreciate your position, whether it's agreeing with me or disagreeing with me, either way. If I can do that, then I'm doing my job. If all I'm trying to do is to get everybody to agree with me, then I'm not doing my job, to be honest with you. Okay, so thanks for that, Eddie. I appreciate it. Kyle Sayers writes, at the end of Black Panther, sorry, man. I gotta skip over that. That question gave something away, so I gotta skip over it. Ben Lorenowitz writes, seeing Black Panther this afternoon, excited. I'm excited for you that you finally get to go and see it. One of my favorite things actually is watching movies that I like with people who haven't seen it yet. That's like one of my favorite things to do. I get a big kick out of that. Sarah O.D. writes, love Black Panther. Anyway, do you recommend or watch other YouTubers? I follow Grace Randolph. Well, I mean, obviously Grace and I have a bit of a history, but you know what? There's so many, like the thing about YouTube right now is that there's so many people out there, and there are some people with big channels, some people with tiny channels, but regardless, big, medium, small, there's some really good people out there. Just do a search around and go on a mission of discovery. I'm sure you'll find some that are really great. Chris Martin writes, have you seen All Shook Up, Elvis's Broadway musical, I think? No, haven't. Honestly, never heard of it, to be honest with you. Ben Lorenowitz writes, could the movie Blazing Saddles be made today? Oh, it would be tough. That would be tough. Doing Blazing Saddles today? One of the all-time funniest lines. And it's another, like, I find like 3 of the all-time movie funniest lines, of the top 5 all-time funniest lines, all come from Mel Brooks. Evil will always triumph because good is done. But the other one, that's one of the all-time funniest lines. Hey! Where are the white women at? Oh my God, I thought I was going to die. Could you do that today? I don't know, man. I honestly just don't know if that could actually be pulled off. Devontae Brown writes, you tricked me. No Black Panther trailer songs. Well, I mean, hey, it looks like maybe Black Panther's not coming at 200 million, so maybe I won't have to sing that song after all. Believe me, you're lucky that I don't have to sing. Devontae also then writes, just kidding, John. We all make mistakes. I'm at work, but I hope you know the Creed 2 poster is fake. I mean, look, all I know is that Stallone social media'd it out. So, I mean, that's all I know. Like, whether it's official or real or anything like that, at least that's what I saw. I mean, maybe the information I got was completely incorrect, but what I saw was that. Talmis Yusuf writes, hey, from London, Black Panther is great to me because I'm black. Even seen some people saying it's okay because it falls into the Marvel Act 1, 2, 3 formula sometimes. Wonder why people make that seem like a terrible thing. Here's the thing. When something succeeds on such a frustratingly consistent basis, Marvel just success after success, I mean, at least in their movies, their television stuff has a lot to be desired. But when you just success after success after success after success, you start looking for something to nitpick. I mean, I think that's kind of human nature. We start looking for something to nitpick on a little bit. But I'm glad you liked it, man. I had a great time with it. Sharan writes, Black Panther's, pardon me, Black Panther's opening has made more than all DCEU movie openings. Yeah, apparently it has. I'm sure there's a discussion to have there too. Javier Belmer writes, hey John, great show. Thoughts on both the music Kendra and the original score Goranson. Also list in no order your favorite composers. Well, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to do lists. I don't like doing lists. But I actually mentioned on the show the other day, like, first of all, Kendrick Lamar's stuff in the movie is good. It's really good. It's really good. But I found myself more into the score. I thought the score was crazy good. And everybody's just talking about the Kendrick Lamar songs. Okay, that's great, and it's really good in the movie, but I thought the score was even better. So that's just my personal opinion on that. And all right, Dirk, I already said no more, but just last question I'll take today. I think I'm tired of Warner Brothers / DC F-ups. I'm going to turn over my DC and go pro for Marvel. I no longer care about whatever happens to DC. If Aquaman is good, then so be it. But it's time to let go of DC. I think that's an overreact. I'll be honest with you, Dirk. I mean, look, you feel how you feel, and I'm not going to illegitimize how you feel about it. But I do want to suggest that maybe you consider that might be an overreaction. And while I am also very frustrated about where DC is, sure, but let's continue to take it on a movie-by-movie basis. Let's not turn ourselves off from, hey, look, if Aquaman's great, then let's appreciate that it's great. I mean, maybe it'll be good, then let's appreciate it for being good. Maybe it'll be okay, then let's appreciate it for being okay. Maybe it'll suck, and we'll criticize it for sucking. But let's try to continue to take it on an individual film-by-film basis. It's got a really good director. I really like Jason Momoa in the role. I think it's got some possibilities going here. So let's try to evaluate Aquaman when it comes out simply on the basis of it as an individual film. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today for this installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Don't forget, guys, jump down to the comment section, leave your thought. Hey, listen, if you want to get a topic or a question on the John Campea Show, email it to me anytime at john@thejohncampeashow.com and put the word topic in the subject line, and always keep your emails as short as possible, absolutely no more than 90 words or less. And also, guys, listen, if you're somebody who likes watching my programming and you get a kick out of it, maybe consider doing me a favor and head on over to www.patreon.com/John Campea. There you'll get all the information about what it means to be one of my Patreon supporters, how being a Patreon supporter makes my shows even possible, and also what benefits there are to being a Patreon supporter. And then maybe you'll want to become a Patreon supporter too, which would be aces if you did. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today. Thanks so much for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until my next video, bye-bye.